Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us for this weekly media briefing. To be honest, I don't have any announcement, but I'm happy to take questions. Srinja, we'll start with you.
So, times now. We know that Zakir Naik is currently in Oman, and he's going to. He has a meeting on the 25th, after which he leaves on the 26th.
I don't know so much, I must confess.
We also know that a government team has reached Oman. Can you tell us if there is any issue that relates to extradition, and also if India has an extradition treaty with Oman?
Siddhant. Microphone's not clean, no? Yeah, there you are. Okay, Siddhant, I think your microphone has a major. Why don't I come back to you? Yeah, your microphone there?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Siddhant from Beyond. My question to you is regarding these protests we have seen across the Western world specifically. How many countries India has sensitized regarding these protests, and how many countries have assured that there will not be any untoward incident in future regarding these vandalization incident we have seen?
When you say how many countries we have sensitized, you mean governments or
Yes, governments,
our missions or what?
How many governments we have sensitized across the world regarding these protests, or worry regarding these protests?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hassan Rishikesh from PTI. The Canadian Foreign Minister has made comment on the internal situation in Punjab, saying that she expects the situation will be normalized in Punjab very soon. So, would you like to make any...
Isn't that a good thing to say? You don't want the situation normalized soon?
No, Canadian Foreign Minister
No,
is
I'm just
commenting on our internal situation.
It didn't seem like anyway, I'll come back.
Okay. So, did our Foreign Secretary or Foreign Minister spoke with US or UK counterparts on this protest in London or San Francisco?
Okay. Elena?
Yes, good afternoon. My first question relates
You need to introduce yourself for record.
Yes,
I know you,
Elena, TASS News Agency. This week, Chinese leader visited Moscow. So it's interesting if officials in New Delhi watched this visit, its outcomes, and in general, what is your assessment of these contacts,
Okay.
which play important role for international arena. And my second question is...
Let's take one, I'll come back to you. Here's something related to that.
This is the meeting, Reza from Hindustan Times. This is a meeting between the Russian and Chinese leaders. In the joint statement that was issued, there is a very clear reference to the Indo-Pacific and the proposal of an alternate Asia-Pacific strategy. And also, there is this bit about not politicizing...
It says Indo-Pacific strategy or Asia-Pacific strategy?
As an alternative, they have proposed the Asia-Pacific strategy to the Indo-Pacific. And there's a very pointed mention about not inserting external matters into multilateral forums, which seems to be about Ukraine and the G20. I was wondering if you would like to comment on that.
Not inserting external matters into multilateral. Okay, let me try to take this round of questions and I'll come back to it. Sinja, I'm not going to confirm all the stuff that you said because I'm not aware of it. That's up to you. As I said, I'm not going to confirm all that. Look, let me just reiterate what we've been said in the past. Zakir Naik is an accused in numerous cases in India. He's a fugitive from justice. We have taken up the matter with the government of Oman, with the Oman authorities, and we will continue to take all necessary measures to bring him to face justice in India. I think I'll leave it at that. As regards the extradition part, I'll need to check on that. I think the list of countries with whom we have an extradition treaty that is ratified is already available publicly. Oman is not on the list, so I need to reconfirm the exact data. So this one I'll come back to you. Siddhant, let me mention, I don't know what you mean by sensitize the governments on the issues of security. Whenever we feel there is an issue relating to the security of our missions abroad, high commissions and embassies, this issue is taken up. Whenever we have concerns where we feel that there could be some activities that may harm our interests in terms of security interests, we do take it up. You would have seen in specifically on at least in London and San Francisco, we have strongly taken up the matter of vandalization and attacks on our missions there, post there. And you would have also seen our statements that we have put out in this regard. Let me just say, we expect that host governments will take action to identify and prosecute all those involved, and also take necessary measures to prevent the recurrence of such incidents. We would hope host governments provide full and adequate protection to our missions as well as to the personnel working there. I think that's broadly what your question was. You mentioned assurances also? No. You said, what assurances have you received? Look, on that element, let me just say, look, I think we are not interested in just assurances. I think we would like to see action. So that's what I would leave it at that. On the Canadian Foreign Minister's comment, look, I've seen briefly, it was, I think, in the context of parliamentary discussions there. But let me make a larger point here. I'm not going to go specifically into that. What you said I can't disagree with having, situation normal. I think the situation is normal. But let me just make one broad comment on, let's say, foreign, as you said, foreign parliamentarians or foreign leaders may commenting on that. As you are aware, authorities in Punjab are undertaking operations to nab a fugitive. Information regarding that operation is being shared by authorities concerned in Punjab on a regular basis. We would urge people abroad not to be taken in by inaccurate and motivated narratives that are being circulated by some elements on social media. Eliana, I wouldn't like to comment on discussions between leaders of two other countries. That's their bilateral relations. So, yes, of course, as diplomats, we keep an eye on all international developments. But I don't really have any comment on that for you. I think Reza, you had a linked question on that. Look, again, your presumption of what they mean, that is a joint document. It wasn't drawn up in consultation with us, so I'm not going to speculate on what they meant by inserting other elements into multilateral events. We have always believed that in multilateral organizations should not bring in bilateral elements. That our position on that. I don't know what they have in mind. So I would let it be to just say that, yes, we are obviously aware of this meeting, but I don't have a comment on that. Sorry? That's what I'm saying. I don't have a comment specifically on that. I think our position in Indo-Pacific has been clarified numerous times. I don't really think we need to do it right now. Okay, go ahead. You had a hand up. I'll come back to you. You had a second question? I'll come back. Yeah.
Sir, Abhishek Jha from CNN News 18. My question is regarding a recent protest by Khalistani in Canada, in Surrey, where Indian High Commission was expected to have a function. He was supposed to have a dinner. But due to that protest...
Could you just repeat that? Indian High Commission was supposed to... High Commissioner was supposed
to attend that event. And due to this protest that was cancelled, apparently, there were police presence also, but one of the Indian was assaulted as well. One of the journalists was taken away from the spot. So have you had any conversation with the Canadian authorities? What actions they have taken? If you could share with us that.
Fair enough. Yes, please.
Sir, Saurabh from ANI. Sir, on MHE order, Delhi police have registered FIR.
Slowly. What?
Sir, on MHE orders, Delhi police have registered a FIR regarding the protest happened outside the Indian mission.
Okay.
So, sir, have the authorities made any move or any approach to MEA?
Should ask MHE, I'm just curious. So, what exactly is the question?
Sir, how the MEA will assist in?
Okay. I saw another hand there. Yeah, at the back.
So I'm Sandeep Dixit with the Tribune. A number of students, about 1,000 students in Canada, are facing deportation to India because they have submitted fake documents. The students seem to be victims of a fraud. How is the Indian government helping them? And what should be the first course of action when students find themselves in such a situation? Whom do they report to?
Okay. And who else had a hand? Yep. And go ahead.
So Sridhar from the Asian Age. So we saw two sets of developments. One is the British Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs saying yesterday that they're going to comprehensively review the security, and that they were already in touch with the Indian High Commissioner there. And the other set of developments was in Delhi, where there were reports that the barricades and some special security paraphernalia around the British High Commissioner's residence at Rajaji Marg, as well as the British High Commission at Chanakpuri, were removed. The British High Commission refused to comment, saying that they don't comment on security developments. But have they taken up the matter with you? And what is your response? Thank you.
Okay. Elena? Oh, sorry, I missed you. Okay, go ahead, Elena. I thought Kalol didn't want to ask.
This week it has become known that... Elena, TASS News Agency. This week it has become known that British authorities will send shells to Ukraine that contain depleted uranium. What India thinks about it?
Okay. And Kalol, I'll just take the last question there, I think. Not too any other questions.
Kalol from The Hindu. My question is that the action that you have taken against the British UK High Commission and the High Commissioner's residence, these, had they not been noticed by the media, they would have just passed by our attention. Because we remember last time in 2013 when the Devyani Khobragade case happened, it was done in the prime time, and then the cameras were chasing, and then MEA had held a press conference at that time. This time you have not even acted against the, I'm sorry, but there's been no action against the US missions in India, despite the fact that there's been...
No, the reason I'm looking strange, I don't know what your question is or the statement is. Can I unload this question? Could you ask me specifically what you have in mind?
Exactly. That is the action against the UK High Commission and the diplomats, High Commissioner's residence were taken quite silently. Okay. Was there an attempt by the Indian government somehow to downplay it from the very beginning?
With you present? How is that possible? But go ahead. Anyway, go ahead. Is the UK you're talking about or the US you're talking about?
UK. I'm talking about
Okay,
both.
so first question is it
the
security measures, UK High Commission,
measures,
silently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you trying to downplay the initial action from the very beginning? And the second is that why haven't you really responded in kind to the San Francisco incident?
Okay, fair enough. Okay, let me try to answer this very tricky set of conjectures. Okay. Look, on Abhishek, your question, we cannot comment on individual cases for security reasons, okay? So, but let me say it is our expectation that in any country, in fact, our diplomats can perform their legitimate and normal diplomatic duties and functions, and that the host government will ensure a conducive environment for doing so. And we are having continuing conversations with Canadian authorities in this regard. So let me just limit myself to that. Your question on, whose question was it? Oh, your question, yeah. On MEA, what will it do? Look, MEA, I'm not sure what it will do. It's a action, as you said. You have got information from MHA, that's what you mentioned. I'm not very sure. All I can say is, look, we have shared with the relevant agencies incident report on what happened outside our High Commission in London earlier this week, and now it is up to the law enforcement agencies or the relevant agencies to do what they feel they can do about it or need to do. So our role in that way is we have shared that report. If there's something further that they request or need our assistance, obviously that will be part of what we'll end up doing. But for the moment, that's all I have to share. Sandeep Dikshit, you had, right, sorry, you were sitting there. Students in Canada. Look, I am not sure of the numbers. That's a number that I am not aware of how many such cases are there in total. Some of these students have approached us, our High Commission, and we have taken up the matter with the Canadian authorities. We are also taking action against unscrupulous agents that may be involved in this. And let me emphasize that we have always supported legal mobility. Your other question was a very broad question. What should students do if they get stuck? Look, it depends on the country. I presume you're talking about Canada, then it'll have a certain rules. Most countries have a mechanism under which they have to reach out to local authorities. But we would also urge that they should contact the Indian High Commission or the Indian Consulate if they're in trouble or they feel that they've been duped or they need assistance of any kind. But they might have to do some local requirements depending on the country concerned. Sridhar, on your question, and linked to what I suppose Kallol is saying, let me make a broad comments on this. Look, I am not going to be able to comment. You just actually yourself also said the British side did not make any comments. We will not, or we cannot comment on matters pertaining to the security of foreign missions in India. So I'm not going to get into individual discussions. I'm not going to get into linkages that you have put and etc. As I said, and I think you missed it, you came a little late, I did mention at the beginning of the first question was asked, we expect host governments to take action to identify, prosecute all involved and take necessary measures to prevent recurrence of incidents. We expect them to provide an environment in which the safety and security, that's their obligations under international conventions. And we emphasize that we want action rather than just assurances. So both on those questions, I would put it there. Kallol, you had some additional comment on that. Look, again, vis-a-vis one country or the other, each security situation is assessed on its own merits, and I'm certainly not going to try to link one with the other. And I don't know, silently, you guys picked it up. There's nothing silent, and it's not by MEA. Please ask the relevant agencies. I'm not going to discuss security details. Eliana, on the issue of depleted uranium, I must confess that I've just seen reports, and I have no immediate comment for you at this point. I've just seen reports on something in the media. Is there no other questions? Slowly, I can't hear you.
Sir, this comment, just small clarification. Sir, this comment of yours, we want action, not just assurances. Is this in the context of what the British Foreign Secretary said?
No, it's the context of what assurances given by, I think it was asked by you. What assurances have been given? Okay. Thank you very much for joining today evening. Good day. Sorry, you had more question. I'm sorry, you should put up your hand a little earlier. Okay, I'll take the last question since you asked. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes,
please go ahead.
Chakraborty from China, Delhi. 2 days ago, Chinese embassy, marched here. Charge d'Affaires said China and India will have to face the difficulties arising out of the border situation. But none of the two countries want war or confrontation. It is a bilateral issue. Foreign interference will not help to solve the problem. So what is your comment about it? And
I have no comment about it. Why should I comment on a foreign diplomat's comment? Is the specific question you have?
Yes, this is
what?
the question.
I have nothing to say. They are happy. They are free to say what they want to say. Our position, if you want to know our position on the...
Yes,
that I'm happy to reiterate. I'm sure by now you know. Okay, we have always said that we need to take steps to have the situation on the border come back to a normalcy, and that there are diplomatic as well as military conversations going on. But we would like to see de-escalation, disengagement, and a normalization of the situation there, which would help us in improving the overall relationship. So that's been our consistent position. I have really nothing much to add to that. Okay?
And the ambassador further said...
Look, this is not an interview, but anyway, please ask your question.
I'm putting my questions. Commenting on the growing partnership among the Quad nations, the ambassador said, we do not oppose any kind of regional or international cooperation if it is the interest of people in this...
I can't understand you. Could you put the mic closer?
Yeah, we do not... commenting on the growing partnership among the Quad nations, the ambassador said, we do not oppose any kind of regional or international cooperation if it is the interest of people in this region, but we oppose those small circle composed for the purpose of geopolitical intentions for the containment of China. So what is your response?
I have no idea what she's talking about. Who has the next? Sorry, I have done with the question. Unless you have something else. Something else? Yeah, please, go ahead. I should have closed the thing. You should have finished your question one round. Go ahead.
Sir, in the wake of these attacks in San Francisco and London, and there have been attempts to desecrate temples in Australia, we are hearing that there is additional security that has been provided for Indian missions in Canberra, Sydney, and Perth and Melbourne. Could you tell us a little about it, please?
Okay. You have more questions? What? Huh? Okay, different question. You forgot about it first round. Okay, go ahead.
Sir, we have seen reports of Mehul Choksi being removed from the Interpol red list. If you can comment on that. And also, Sri Lanka has been bailed out now. She's got the bailout by the IMF. India was one of the first countries to support that. How do you see IMF giving a go-ahead?
Okay, fair enough. Huh? More questions? Okay, go ahead. Suddenly people have woken up. Okay.
Reza from Hindustan Times.
Yeah, thanks, Reza.
You mentioned an incident report about this incident in London.
Yeah.
Does that incident report identify some Indian nationals who were involved in the protest?
Okay. Kalol, you have something further?
In the context of this this police case that's been lodged against certain elements in London after the incident in London, do you think that certain people that you suspect who are involved in these activities in London, you would be demanding their extradition if it comes to that?
Sorry, repeat the last part again.
I'm saying if you really could...
Police case are you talking about, or are you talking about something else?
There's a police case in Delhi. In the context of that, would you prefer that, or would you request in future that these culprits should be handed over to India?
Okay, most of these questions, I'm frankly... Srinjoy, on your questions of additional security measures, you'll ask the Australian side. We have certainly been taking up the issue of vandalization as well as security requirements that our missions and posts may have. As I said, I'm not going to discuss the detailed security posture or what requirements we have. But yes, we have been talking to authorities not just in Australia but elsewhere. On the issue of Mehul Choksi, look, he used the word, red corner notice or something has been removed. Let me just take the larger point. Our focus is on getting economic fugitives to face justice, to come back here, face justice in India, and we will continue to make all efforts in this regard. Specific issue that you raised regarding red corner notice, otherwise, look, I would have to direct you to the concerned agency. I think they've issued a detailed press release. I really don't have anything to add to that. On the bailout, as you call it, with Sri Lanka, look, we have been, of course, let me first of all welcome the extended, the EFF facility agreement that they did with Sri Lanka. As you are aware, so we welcome this announcement. I think it's made by the IMF itself and both by the Sri Lankan government. We hope that this step will further support Sri Lanka as it strives for the early economic recovery, path to economic growth. As you are aware, India was first bilateral creditor of Sri Lanka to support debt restructuring and also convey specific and credible financing assurances to the IMF. I think we did it on 16th January or middle of January, so that it cleared the way for Sri Lanka to secure this IMF program. And on a larger note, we would expect all concerned to engage in the forthcoming process of restructuring of Sri Lankan debt in the spirit of transparency and comparability of treatment for all external creditors. That will ensure that no side arrangements are made with any creditor. As regards, Reza, your query on Indian nationals in that report, look, I'm not going to divulge what was the incident report. This is now a legal matter, in any case a security matter. Similarly, Kallol, on that, look, we are not the police authorities. What the police or the legal process might entail is something that's speculative at this point. I'm not going to comment on that. We have shared the incident report and let the concerned authorities now take that forward. If there is any update on that or anything that involves MEA, we will certainly tell you. On the China-Delhi query, look, as I mentioned on the second part that I answered your first part, our position on Quad, I again will not repeat. People have, I think External Affairs Minister has said it, Foreign Secretary has said it, how we view the Quad. How other people view the Quad is up to them. We have certainly, Prime Minister has been talking about being a force for good, force for global good, and what it aims to do and what it is not. How other people's comments, I'm not going to get into that. Thank you very much. Good evening.